This is J.G. Hertzner. You're listening to NX7062 Podcast.
See, you guys all thought I forgot about my JG intro. I have not forgotten about my JG intro. I just haven't updated it the same way I updated my Dominic intro, and that's only because I honestly keep forgetting. I feel so bad. I keep forgetting. I was talking to somebody about a few minutes ago, and maybe I'll tell you who it was. And I was like, I feel so guilty. I haven't updated my JG stuff and my Nicole outro to match all the cool stuff that I did with Connor and Dominic. I'm going to have to do that. Hello, Robert. Hello, Magic Lasso. It's appropriate, Robert, that you were here for the season 3 debut of the JG intro, because I've been using the other one the entire time. So everybody, welcome, welcome, welcome. It is a sunny but cold fall/winter has finally hit New Jersey. No more 70-degree November days, unfortunately. It's a short work week. Thanksgiving's coming up. We all have so much to be thankful for, except for Mission Seattle, which we're going to talk about later. But we have other things to be thankful for. Again, things that I will be talking about later or right now. Let's talk about a couple things we have to be thankful for right now. Like virtual TrekCon is coming back. I think it's going to be their 4th virtual TrekCon. It is happening in February. It's the weekend of the 17th, 18th, and 19th, but we all know virtual TrekCon usually takes more than 3 days because they have so much to do. Thank you, Lasso. That's right. I have over 100 subscribers. Shh, don't tell YouTube so they don't take any of them away, but I do have over 100 subscribers now. Thank you, Lasso. So that's awesome. Thank you for remembering, because I freaking forgot. So virtual TrekCon is coming back, and one of the reasons that they are doing another weekend extravaganza in February is because the 2nd annual Lappy Awards is going to be included in virtual TrekCon. So everybody get ready, be on the lookout for voting. My personal favor to all of my friends over at the 7th Rule / virtual TrekCon. I am talking to you specifically, Ryan T. Husk and Mohammed Noor, if you are within the sound of my voice. Not that I have to convince Mohammed, but we need more enterprise choices in the categories. Last year, they were really, really light on enterprise categories. So this year, they need to make up for it somehow, and I'm sure I would be here to help them do that. I'm sure my friends over the Shuttle Pod show would help them do that. Mohammed's going to help them do that. So come on, guys. We need more enterprise choices in the Lappy categories. Let's see. What else do I have? And yes, I'm vamping a little bit because I'm waiting very patiently. Oops. Cats. Okay. I'm waiting very patiently for my friends to show up. I don't know if they're going to be here yet. But you know what? Shuttle Pod show, if you're not in the room, I'm going to start talking about it anyway. The Shuttle Pod show live premiere is going to be this Sunday. I was just talking to them. That's who I was talking to on the phone about Dis and JG. And they have got so much going on. They've got the live premiere with Walter Koenig coming up. It's going to be this Sunday. It's going to be morning in the West Coast, afternoon here. They're trying to take into account all of their European followers so that we all can get together in one big chat room and chat with everybody from the Shuttle Pod show right now, as it stands right now, barring obviously anything because it's almost a week away. Everybody from the Shuttle Pod show, all the hosts, some of the other backstage kind of people that want to contribute to the chat, they are all going to be there. I don't have names outside of Connor, Dominic, Mark, and Erica, but there are going to definitely be other people showing up. So it's definitely going to be a fun time. It's going to be a great way to kick off season 2 of the Shuttle Pod show. I plan on being there. You should too. If you are a fan, or maybe if you're not a fan, maybe you'd like to become a fan, then definitely come and join us. Some other really cool things that are going on. The Shuttle Pod show has some amazing guest lineups. I'm so jealous of some of the people that they've got, because they've got Nana Visitor coming up. They've got James Darren coming up. I love James. I've met James once. I got JG to introduce me a couple years ago in Vegas. Such a crooner, such a sweetheart, such a classic old 50-60 style. He's still got that kind of 50-60 kind of swag. Dean Martin, Frank Sinatra kind of vibe, which I love. I am a huge fan of the original Rat Pack. So I love that. I was told that they were going to be here, so I might just knock off talking about it and wait for them to get here. And maybe we'll keep talking about the Shuttle Pod Show. I'm so excited they're coming back. And I'm so excited to be involved with them the way I am. Well, there they are. Hello, Shuttle Pod Show. I was just talking about how jealous I am of all the amazing guests that you have coming up. The other thing that I am totally jealous of is that you have more luck on Twitter than I do. You tweet at people and then they text you and say, yes, we'd love to do your show. And I'm totally jealous because I've tried that a couple times and it hasn't worked. But it worked for you, and I think that's all I'm allowed to say for right now. But I'm really excited for you, and hopefully you will share your big news here before you share it anywhere else. I am going to be like the official Shuttle Pod Show breaking news station, I guess you could call it. That would be fun. What else do you guys have going on? I'm trying to remember all the cool. Oh, yep, we've got. Oh, that's awesome! I love. Jackie Harry's on my soap now. She's on Days of Our Lives now. In fact, that Jackie Harry was in a scene with my Jackie Cox, a couple months back. So that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, I've tweeted at Mike McMahon and got him to answer a question, but I don't know if I tweeted at Mike McMahon, please come on my show, if that would work. But I haven't gotten up the balls to try that yet. I tried it with Jeff Combs. I tried with Jeff Combs a couple times. I have no shame when it comes to Jeff. I would love to have Jeff on the show. But it hasn't happened yet. Maybe one of these days I'll wear him down. He is such a sweetheart. Let's see, what else? Oh yeah, Shuttle Pod Show they wanted me to remind you all, in February, and this is happening before the Lappy Awards. You've got to love the way that this all worked out, because the Shuttle Pod Show is having their big anniversary live special on February 13th, which is a Monday. And then you get that, and then that Thursday is the television premiere or streaming premiere of Picard, the third season of Picard, aka the big TNG reunion. And then you've got Virtual TrekCon. So it's going to be a huge Trek week. Starting February 13th is going to be a huge Trek week, and the Shuttle Pod Show is kicking it off. We tweet Armin. He's not yet responded, but then we aren't good at working the whole internet machine yet. We can talk about Armin after this is over. I might have a way to get you Armin. And I'm not kidding. But yeah, okay. So much for the big secret. They tweeted it, but then again, it's public knowledge. Gates tweeted back. They tweeted at Gates. Gates tweeted back, and we are all incredibly. We figured all this out on Friday, and we're all incredibly excited that she's going to be doing the show. Yes, I love the intranets too. It brought me to you guys. So how could you not love the intranets? And yes, Jackie is on Days of Our Lives, which puts her kind of Star Trek-ish. I think I figured out a way to get Days of Our Lives to Star Trek. You can get it to Buck Rogers. Gil Gerard was actually in it for a little bit. And Wesley Ure was in it. And Walter Koenig wrote for Land of the Lost. Walter Koenig wrote for Land of the Lost, and Walter Koenig is the guest on the Shuttle Pod Show on Thursday, or on Sunday, the live premiere on Sunday. The East Dubuque Bridge. I'm 100 from Riverside, Iowa, which we all know how important that is to Trek. Yes, we do all know how important Riverside, Iowa is to Trek. In fact, Riverside, Iowa, of course, how could they not? They have a Star Trek convention coming up in June. So, is this okay? East Dubuque Bridge. Lasso, if that's not you, I am about to roll over. And it's really not you. That is so funny, Lasso. That's amazing. East Dubuque Bridge, you have no idea how meaningful it is that you're here. I'm not kidding. Okay. yes, you guys are going to be at the Riverside, Iowa convention. That's right. So East Dubuque Bridge, meet Shuttlepod Show. Shuttlepod Show is going to be traveling to Riverside, Iowa to do your convention. And yes, Walter answers one of my questions. I'm the last question because Mark was kind enough to slide it to Erica in a text. That's the story of that question. So I cannot wait to hear the answer on Sunday. I will be there. So, Robert says hi to everybody. All right, so let's see. We talked about Gates. We've talked about the live event. How anybody out there can attend the live event for Shuttlepod Show on February 13th. As you know, the best is yet to come because I am working with them. We're all working together. We're collaborating, and we're figuring out the best ways to have you guys attend the live event. It's going to be in LA, I believe, at a as yet unknown location, and it's going to be amazing. No, I'm talking about it right now. See, we're always on the same page, Shuttlepod Show. The live event is going to be amazing. We're working on ways to figure out the best ways to get fans out there to do stuff. See, I'm trying to be subtle and build up the anticipation. And Shuttlepod Show is just going to say whatever they feel like saying in the chats. So whatever you want to tell people about the amazing anniversary live event, feel free, Shuttlepod Show. And speaking of Shuttlepod Show, which leads to Enterprise, which actually leads to Prodigy. I am so excited. I am so proud of Prodigy because Prodigy's doing a better job than Lower Decks right now. Prodigy in the episode where they came back, they did that split season thing, which Lasso and I hate. Lasso and I have agreed, if you're going to have a season, have a point A and a point B, a beginning and an end, not a point A, then A and a half, and then eventually we'll give you, no, just one season through like the old days. But they opened this half of their season with the Protostar actually having a chance to return to Federation space, and they find this space station on the final frontier, which was adorable. And it's run by a Denobulan. Now, here's the thing. It's very Denobulan. I don't know why any Denobulan would take an assignment on the back of Beyond by themselves. Because as we have learned through many, 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 many episodes and the novels, Denobulans hate being alone. They are incredibly social creatures, hence the 3 wives for every husband and all of that. You don't drive halfway on a bridge and then stop. Well, East Dubuque Bridge, isn't that just on brand for you and perfectly put? Thank you. Exactly. So this poor Denobulan's stuck in the back of Beyond, and he's not nice. That's the other thing. He's not exactly the nicest Denobulan, but obviously you can't base the personality of an entire race of people off of John Billingsley. So, I just thought that was great that they introduced a Denobulan right off the bat. The second episode, which was a Borg episode, again, I love the animation. I think the animation is beautiful, and the Borg looked great. And obviously you get to do more with a Borg ship when you can just draw it. And to see the Protostar actually fly in there and look to the Borg for help, and Zero. I was meh on this episode just because the whole thing with Zero and fight it, Zero, and we love you and we're your family, and I resistance isn't futile. That whole thing it seemed very cookie cutter. But I have to remind myself, I am also not their core audience. So I understand why they did it. That is a great message to their core audience about not conforming and not giving into peer pressure and just, finding your tribe and finding where you belong. And that's what's important. And resistance is never futile if it's something that you don't want to do. So I get that. And, the whole but again, for me, I'm just like, yeah, that's kind of, but But I did like, I love Prodigy. I think Prodigy's great. I do enjoy it. And like I said, I binged it. I just sat down and watched all 4 episodes. I think my 2 favorite episodes, though, All the World's a Stage, where they pay complete homage to what happens when you don't follow the Prime Directive, red shirts, and just a total, like, what happens. This entire society built themselves around an ensign that landed in a shuttle, and and they built this whole society around the Enterprise, and they named their children things like Sulu and Boons, and I thought it was great. And then they had this funky, they got Live Long and Prosper backwards, which is fine, because this one I can't do the real one, but I can do this one. So I thought, well, now I have a reason to make this symbol, log long, or whatever it was. I just thought it was adorable. The one thing that I was really impressed about was Eric. What is his name? Eric Bauza. It did all the voices. He did Sulu and Kirk. I think the only one he didn't do was Boons. But he did Sulu and Kirk. I thought, oh my God, I, for a second, wondered if they asked George Takei to come in for 2 seconds. He sounded so much like Sulu. This guy was great, and that's not his only episode, but this one just blew me away with all the characters that he portrayed. But I loved how it was like, see, this is why we have first, all these protocols and the Prime Directive, and how you have to be careful with first contact, because this stuff happens. They also hinted at that in Star Trek Into Darkness, about how you have to be careful, because you don't know, if you leave a footprint with a society that's not ready, you don't know what's going to happen. And this entire new section of the season is definitely showing the growth of the characters. Dahl making that decision where Starfleet knew who he was, and Starfleet could give him these answers that he's been seeking his entire life, but he realized that taking the Protostar deeper into Federation space would literally destroy the Federation, and nothing, the needs of the many. It wasn't as important, because, like he said, his answers will always be there, but figuring out how not to tear the Federation apart was more important than him getting his immediate answers. And I have to respect that, because I'm a now person. I don't know if I could be as measured as he is. So I think that's a great message. I think the way they get their message across to their core audience, I think is amazing. So I love how they do it. It's very organic, and it very much fits the story, and the characters' growth fits. Everybody's growing. Murph just morphed into their next stage of life, which was absolutely adorable. I think, yeah, it was pretty cute, except for the whole setting off a torpedo thing, which was not the best. And yes, Lasso, I always have one fingernail a different color. It's just a thing. I can't do. Yeah, well, yeah, they're symmetrical, because it's the same. It's my ring finger. It's the same finger on each hand, is just a different color. You should see me when I do. You should see me. My STLV nails are always Enterprise colored in some way. They always have gold, red, and that aqua to match the piping on the uniforms. So my STLV nails are always different. Hello, Mohammed. How are you? Thank you for all of your insight tonight, by the way. He's my 7th Rule Connect. Whenever I have questions about the 7th Rule, he is the man to go to. And you can catch him on a lot of the 7th Rule programming. So keep up with Mohammed, because he's amazing. Were those Lee press-on nails that you won on that game show? No, they're not Lee press-on nails. You know what? I am dating myself. I did Lee press-on nails back when they were actually really cheap press-on nails. No, but these are actual, like, go to the salon and get, like, actual professional acrylic tips. I have done glue-on. I've done Lee press-on nails. I hated them. I've done the new glue-on nails, which are actually pretty damn good. And the best thing, what's really funny, and I think I might have mentioned this back in the day, but during COVID, a lot of, like, you could not find glue-on nails. You could not find glue-on nails anywhere, because all the women that were going to salons and getting their nails done professionally, and then that avenue was cut off, all of a sudden they all discovered you could buy the nails for under $10 and just sit at home and glue them on. I like this better, and I love the attention, and they do stay longer. So I do like getting professional manicures when I can, but yeah, I always go with the glue. I don't like my nails, so they're either glue-on nails or they're professionally done. So right now, my toes match the purple right now, because I also treated myself to a pedicure last time I was there. So, okay. Oh, the other thing about All the World's a Stage, when they held up the communicator as like this holy grail, all I could do was flashback to the Enterprise episode, The Communicator, where, oops, poor Malcolm left that communicator on the planet. And then he almost got him and Archer killed. But again, that was such a great look at, why first contact rules are so important, why the Prime Directive became so important, because don't forget, Enterprise predated the Prime Directive. And it was not in Cogenitor that the captain made the statement about, well, maybe someday there'll be a rule about whether or not we can interfere with other planets, or how that's going to work. I think it was in the episode, and I'd see, again, this is one I actually don't know the title to. I think it was in the episode where they came upon the planet that had two species, and one of them was dying from this horrible virus that was not affecting the other species, which the first species had you thought they were like a subspecies, because the first species was the dominant species and these guys were more subservient. And then you find out that the subservient species was about to survive because the virus was going to kill them. And Phlox didn't want to help. Phlox had a problem because it felt like this was evolutionary. And if he cured them, he was interfering with an entire planet's evolution. And I think that was the episode that prompted Archer to say, well, maybe someday Starfleet will have some regulations about what to do. So let's see. Oh, Crossroads. Crossroads was the last episode so far with Prodigy, and that was another. I just felt so bad for Pog. He found out what a Pog was. It was a lesser. Oh my God. It's a lesser Tellarite. Couldn't think of his species for a second. So lesser Tellarite. He just found out his species was one of the founders of the Federation. He felt like royalty, and then somebody from his own species just basically knocked him the fuck out, and it was terrible. It was absolutely terrible. It was terrible that they met Janeway under horrible circumstances because the freaking Denobulan opened his mouth. It was all very terrible, but Okana was in it, which was great. You remember him from the second season episode of TNG. It's a little worse for wear, but still playing that game, that kind of space piratey game that he was doing in that episode of TNG. But the best part, Xindi insectoids. Xindi freaking insectoids were doing the security at that Mos Eisley spaceport, Star Trek version of Mos Eisley spaceport. I seriously wanted somebody to say, you won't find a more wretched hive of scum and villainy, because it was such a beat up old spaceport. But they didn't, but that's okay. But yeah, I was just really excited. I was really excited that they included the Xindi insectoids. Yes, of course you do. Yeah, I was excited. At first I'm like, no, they can't possibly be. Would they really be? And then just to bring it on home, Okana said, oh, the Xindi. And I went, oh, I was right. They were Xindi insectoids. And how exciting is that? I was so excited. So far so good. I mean, I'm enjoying Prodigy. It's nice to have Star Trek back. We had a little lull after, Lower Decks and everything had their season finale. And then we're waiting for February 16th to roll around for the final season of Picard. So I'm not sure Discovery's announced a premiere date yet. So I'm not sure when Discovery's going to pop into the equation just yet. But right now we've got Prodigy and Picard. Maybe there'll be Discovery. I don't know. Does somebody else know out there whether Discovery's made some sort of announcement? Speaking of announcements, I guess it's a really clumsy way to segue into what the hell happened to Mission Seattle, because that announcement came as a pretty big slap in the face. The official Star Trek convention has been canceled. And they are looking for, after much consideration, and we're looking for other ways to communicate with our fan base. What other ways? What are you going to do? Do something virtually? We're kind of sick of that. I mean, GalaxyCon's still doing... Oh, there we go. Disco just announced they wrapped this week. Thank you, Mohammed. See, it's like I said, if there's something I don't know, my Chat Pack 2.0 helps out. Well, if they wrap this week, then chances are we're not going to see them until 2023. But what the heck? What the bloody freaking heck? We're canceling Seattle. Now, people were talking about how the convention center, I guess they're building, they're remodeling part of it, and that's the part Seattle was going to use. But you know what? If it's a venue issue, then you kind of lay it at the feet of the venue. Like, oops, we screwed up, or you know what, the venue's not going to be ready in time, and we're trying to find a better place. We're trying to find something. It's not happening. You know, that has a finality to it that, you know, not we have to reschedule, not that there was a problem and we're really sorry and we're working really hard to reschedule. That's not what they said. What they said was they're canceling it. So I am leaning towards it doesn't really have to do with a venue issue. I'm leaning towards it has to do with a Reed Pop. This is my personal opinion. My opinion. I don't have any facts. But I really feel like it has to do with a Reed Pop Paramount issue. Now, remember, this was the first year that, you know, Reed Pop had the license since 2022, but, since 2021. They could have done something in 2021. But obviously that would have been a mistake, and I respect that. So they lost a year there. Okay, but when you lose that year, you figure then you've got a whole extra year to plan. But there was a lack, I think, of guests. Yeah, thanks, Robert. That's what I figured. Thank you. You know, I asked Jeff Combs when I saw him last October if I was gonna be seeing him in Chicago, and he said he hadn't been invited. You know, there are just certain staples to a Star Trek convention that you just, you know, you kind of expect to be asked. Jeff is absolutely one of them, I would think. I mean, and there were so many other people. I mean, I'm not knocking who they had. They had some of my favorite people there. I'm not knocking that in the least. But I think they could have done more with the guests. They charge their booths are ridiculous. Creation has levels. Creation has tiers. So, and there's a booth, Creation's basic booth is under $1,000. And then if you want a better location or you want the fancy backing, you know, those kind of things, then, you know, or with the sides and all that fun stuff, then the price goes up. Now my problem with Creation is regardless of what booth you get 2 free passes, and they won't even sell you other vendor passes. So if you have more than 2 people, then they've got to actually buy tickets to get in, like regular tickets, not discounted or anything. So I'm not saying that Creation's perfect, but they do offer a $600 booth, which depending on what you're doing with the booth, if you're selling merch over 4 or 5 days, you can at least plan on breaking even on the booth. So, but Reed Pop, their booths were so expensive, and it was, you know, post-COVID, and it's their first year doing it. So it got to the point where they started giving away booths to fans, to fan base. You had to apply, but they were giving away booths to fan clubs. If you're a Star Trek fan club, fill out this form. And it was an exhaustive form that included references. And I did some work for Lambda Quadrant on it. which is how I know exactly what the booth entailed to fill out the form. But I had researched it for Lambda Quadrant. And I know some people that got free booze, and I think that's great. I mean, I'm not knocking that, but I think but my personal opinion is the only reason they did it was because they didn't sell enough vendor booze, and they had this huge area in McCormick Place. They realized that if they didn't do something to put more booths in, then they were going to look ridiculously empty. I mean, there was still a lot of empty floor space, which was probably because they couldn't sell it. They probably would have sold it if they could, but they didn't have anything to put. So there was a big empty space between the back wall of Celebrities. That's the other thing. The Celebrities were like the back wall of Celebrities and the first bits of booze. There were not a lot of booze. CBS does their thing. CBS gave them some really cool stuff from Strange New Worlds. They had the skull display from Picard, in the second episode of Picard, the one right after he lands in the alternate reality, and he's got all those skulls. That entire display was there. So, I mean, CBS did their thing. CBS Paramount did their thing. I just feel like it was a less than convention for a lot of reasons. And I think, in my personal opinion, again, and I just can't say this enough, I just want people to know I don't have any insider information. But it's entirely possible, with Repop being new, that maybe Paramount gave themselves an out. Like, if we don't like what you do in the first year, we can pull the contract. I mean, Creations had that license for as long as I can remember. I mean, the first conventions, the first Star Trek conventions I ever went to back in the 90s were in New York at the Pennsylvania Hotel, and they were run by Creation. Back when things were like the schedule was literally like one piece of paper, like just like, or like, regular printed paper. Yeah. Not like it is now. So Creation's been dealing with Trek for as long as I can remember, and Creation has issues of its own, but, and I don't know why they took the license away. I don't know if it was just expired and they decided, Repop, they got better offers from better, I shouldn't say better. Maybe they got, they may go back to the early 80s. I only go back to the early 90s. But that's, I mean, their 57-year mission. I mean, that's based on them. That's based on how long they've been doing it. So, but I mean, there are other companies out there, so maybe they just got a better offer from Repop. They decided they wanted to change things up. STLV to them maybe was getting a little stale. Whatever the reason that they decided to not renew their contract, and then they went with Repop, and like I said, maybe they gave themselves an out. And they decided, you know what, if you don't do X and Y for the first year, you have it, or we just don't like you after the first year. We're pulling it. So it's entirely possible. Now, Creation, of course, immediately jumped on that because they sent out an email. I haven't seen it, but I saw somebody showed it to me. What is it that they said? Creation said they are the one and now the only major convention in the world, is what they said. They're now. Be careful. I mean, I get it. Creation sitting back going, you walked away from us and now look at you. You're missing a golden opportunity for licensing. You've got even more, you got all this new stuff. You've got, things hitting their second seasons and whatever is happening in May. And did I do the 55-year mission in New Jersey? Yes, I did. I did the 55. It took me a second, but yeah, I did. It was lame. It was lame, except for the fact that Connor was there. And Jeff. Connor and Jeff were there. Talked to Michelle Hurd briefly. They had literally no vendors. I did a show. In fact, if you go back through my YouTube channel, somewhere there is a show where I talk about the 55-year mission. It was hella lame. New Jersey has a really nice convention center about a little over an hour from me. And it's huge. And they used next to nothing of it. They had a little food court set up. They had their merch table. They had maybe 5 or 6 other vendors, and then they had a curtained off area for the panels. Oh, Anthony Rapp sang. Anthony Rapp did the Saturday night. Anthony Rapp did the Saturday night show, and that was amazing. It's the first time I've ever had a chance to see Anthony sing. So Anthony was amazing. And I told him so the next time I saw him, which was actually Chicago. I told him how much I enjoyed listening to him sing. And now he has a one-man show on Broadway that is opening in January, and it's based on his memoir. And if I had known I was going to talk about it, which I should have known I was going to talk about it, but I did tweet about it. I absolutely won. Which of these series is the strongest fourth season Enterprise? Sorry, I just saw a poll on Twitter while I'm here looking, and of course, it doesn't matter. I will always vote for Enterprise. We know that. And they did have a strong fourth season. Let's see. My tweets. I'm going to look at my tweets because I'm going to find this Anthony Rapp thing and do him justice. Oh, come on. People are waiting for me. Oh, there's the picture of Ezra. Yep, there we go. It's called Without You. It's Anthony Rapp's Without You, and it's a limited engagement in New York, and just follow me on Twitter and then scroll through my tweets and you will find it. I'm actually planning on figuring out a way to go. Well, not figuring out, I just need to find somebody to go with. But I'm looking forward to going. They had scheduled a second show in January. Yep, they did. I remember that the same weekend, but canceled it because the celebrities didn't want to have to fly to both places on the same weekend. Yep, they did. Shatner was actually, I think Shatner was going to do both. Shatner was slated for both. I didn't see anybody else that was slated for both. The irony of that show, up until they added Connor to New Jersey, I wanted to go to Jacksonville instead of New Jersey because I liked more of the people that were going to be in Jacksonville than that were going to be up here. And then they added Connor to Jersey, and I went, oh, well, if Connor's going to be here, then I don't feel so bad. And then they canceled. And then they ended up canceling Jacksonville. Anthony Rapp, that's very cool. Anthony's a great guy. I like speaking French with Anthony. Anthony's fun. But see, that's the thing. Creation cancels, but for things like that. We couldn't get celebrities, whatever. But I don't, except for COVID, and like I said, I've only been going since 2017, but except for COVID, I'm not sure they have ever flat out canceled STLV. Like, just been like, nah, we couldn't. We've given it much consideration, and we can't do it. And that's the thing. I mean, Creation cancels conventions. Everybody cancels conventions. There are reasons to cancel conventions. When you're doing a convention in the Northeast, and there's a blizzard, you cancel a convention. Like you said, Robert, people couldn't show up. You cancel conventions. Look at Creation's website. But what I'm talking about is something as big as the licensed Star Trek convention, and just pulling the plug with just a basic PR answer of after much consideration, which isn't an answer. It's a PR answer, which isn't an answer. It's just, we're not doing it. We're not telling you why, but we're not doing it. But remember, see, this is the thing, and this is why you have to wonder if it has something to do with their licensing with Paramount, is because there was an issue with Destination London this past year. Europe was supposed to have 2 licensed Star Trek conventions, one in London, one in Germany, in Dortmund, in Germany. And I'd always wanted to go to the London one. Not that I wouldn't go to Germany, but I always wanted to go back to London. So I was really, and they canceled London, and they decided, well, we're only going to do one official European convention, which is ridiculous. Now, I get it, because I had this discussion last week when Mark and Erica were here, because we were talking about Europe. Yes, in Europe, country hopping is a thing. It's a lot easier to do than when you live, when your continent is, the continent of North America is pretty much us and Canada. And, it's a little more difficult to hop around between like countries and everything. But that doesn't mean that you shouldn't still have a London-based and a German-based convention, just because. But that was, they leaked the information. Somebody leaked it. that was CBS decided that they only wanted one licensed convention in Europe, to the point where London went, okay, so we're just going to have a Comic-Con and we're going to have Star Trek people. And they called it a salute to Star Trek for about 5 minutes. And then the website changed. The guests didn't change, but they could no longer, but they weren't even allowed to say a salute to Star Trek. It was just like, yeah, we're having a London Comic-Con, and it just so happens we're going to have a ton of Star Trek people. Just complete coincidence. We're just going to have a lot of Star Trek people on. So, hey, Linda, thank you so much for joining us. Always good to have you pop in. So those are my personal feelings. This isn't we couldn't get celebrities, because if you've got Paramount behind you, you're getting celebrities. In fact, Paramount has a pretty tight hold on their current roster, which means Discovery, Picard, Strange New Worlds, all of their current Lower Decks, all of their current shows, they have a pretty tight hold on where those celebrities can appear and what they can do when they get there. So, I mean, obviously, outside of just the be at your booth and do your panels. Yeah, but then you have to get from France to Germany. So it's not easy. I mean, it's not convenient. It's doable. I mentioned last week, my parents, I was born in Germany. My parents lived in Stuttgart when my dad was in the army. And they spent a weekend in Paris. But that was Stuttgart to Paris. That was a bus trip. They still had to get on a bus for hours. So to get from the UK to Europe, yeah, you can get from the UK and then you're at the coast of Paris. But you still have an entire country to get through, and then you get to Germany. So it's still not, or you could fly. But even so, yeah, I mean, obviously you can fly, but it's still not it's not easy. Plus, every time you cross the border, you got to do the passport thing. That's the other thing. So, oh God, now I just lost my train of thought. So Paramount has a pretty tight hold on, but you have to figure, if you're their official convention, Paramount is going to get you all the new people that you need. So I don't think it's a celebrity issue. I also don't think it was a holiday weekend. Oh, Robert, you missed last week. You completely missed last week. The rail system in Germany is no good. No good. It is not exactly passenger friendly. I've had people tell me horror stories. The park car. Shuttlefod show, you're awake. I think Erica even had some train stories from Europe last week, if I don't remember. And I know one of my listeners, one of my viewers last week was talking about horror stories on trains. And I actually have a friend who lives near Cologne, who Connor knows. Shuttlefod show, and I've talked about it. Her name's Tony, and she is the person responsible for putting together that wonderful short film, Ben Frankly, which is what got Connor to come and do my show when it was audio only, and then followed up by Robert Picardo, who did my who did my show right after that. That's right, she missed the train to Germany and then was told she was probably lucky. That's what it was. Marge told her she was probably lucky. Because Marge has had some horror stories I heard about when she was trying to get to Dortmund, actually, to get to the convention, to go actually meet Connor and Anthony. That was her main goal for the convention, and she suffered. She suffered greatly just to get there. So, not that Connor and Anthony aren't worth it, but yeah. So, but that's what it was. Thanks, Shuttlefod show. So yeah, so I don't think it's anything as simple as we can't get enough celebrities, or oops, we made a mistake because we shouldn't have made it on Memorial Day weekend, which actually to me was a toss-up. If you're going to have a weekend show and all it's going to be is a weekend show, people could conceivably fly in on a Thursday and at least feel comfortable flying home on Monday because because most people wouldn't have to work. So, of course you woke up for the bar car. That's another thing that we're going to be talking about. That's the other thing you guys should tune in to the Shuttle Pod show for and find out who this year's alcohol of choice is going to be. There might be some surprises in that too, right? So anyway, yeah, so I don't know. I think it's a Paramount thing. I'm leaning towards it's a Paramount thing because I don't think Reed Pop would have canceled it on their own. I mean, they say that they did, because I would, if I were them, I would be 120% embarrassed to admit that we did it once and Paramount hated us and they pulled the plug. So yeah, that would in my mind create a PR answer of, after much consideration. Seattle wasn't too. Seattle was going to be Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Pretty sure Seattle was going to be Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I wonder if it's still up on the web. Yeah, it was going to be the entire weekend. There's no way. There was no way that they were only going to do. Let me see if it's still up on the site. Mission Seattle. Let's see if I can get to the website. Star Trek Mission Seattle convention canceled. Yeah, is that on there? Nope, that's Trek movie. Star Trek Missions. There we go. Mission Seattle event update. Dun dun dun. Nope. I think but I would swear that it was I would swear it was, yeah. Okay. Finances is a fair guess as well, and management is a fair guess as well. Yeah, Shuttlepod Show Day is in Los Angeles, February 2023. I'm working on getting my butt out there. We're working, Shuttlepod Show's working on figuring out the best ways to make it so you guys can get your butts out there. And the live event in February is going to make up for it. So is your live event at in Iowa, in Riverside, Iowa, because I'm from Iowa. I work in outer space. Yes, it was poor management. They had issues. They had issues last year, and it showed. And obviously, it would show to Paramount more so than us. I mean, we show up, we have an amazing time, but we don't know what goes on behind those closed doors when the money's counted and the scrutiny comes in. Riverside, Iowa. Hello, East Dubuque Bridge, Riverside, Iowa. Yeah, I'm excited. I might have to try and figure out how to get out. I might just start stalking the Shuttlepod show because it would give me total. Very good. Yes, I was quoting Star Trek 4. Very good. Mark likes it when I pull these quotes out of my behind. But yeah, I might just stalk the Shuttlepod show because they're going to all the cool places like Riverside, Iowa. And then, of course, there's also the future birthplace of Captain Janeway. But you know what? I am not a Voyager fan, East Dubuque Bridge. So Riverside, Iowa definitely holds a very special place in my heart for Captain Kirk. So, although he was born in outer space in the Kelvin universe, but we're not going to talk about the Kelvin universe because canon dictates he was born in Riverside, Iowa. And I get that. So that is the show, believe it or not. That's all we needed to talk about. I found out about Prodigy. I watched Prodigy. We talked about Prodigy. Oh, and I found my other NX shirt. It was actually tucked away with my other tank tops, which is terrible because this is special and it needs to be treated as such. So I can't believe they did that. In fact, if you would like, to own one of these, or if you are not a tank top person, you can absolutely get this very logo on other merchandise at my Teespring store. If you want to head over to the Teespring store, there is stuff to be purchased. There's even gaiters, which I know we're kind of out of wearing masks in public, but you know what? Winter's coming. So a gaiter can also be worn just to keep your face warm. So yeah, head on over and get yourself something. Oh yeah, that. Kate Mold. Yes, you know what? I did know that. And you know how I knew that? Because Magic Lasso told me. Watch Sunday, Walter Koenig, live chat with us. That's right. I think you missed that part. Everybody's going to be there. Connor's going to be there. Dominic's going to be there. Eric, Mark, some of your other behind the scenes people are going to be there, and I couldn't remember their names. There you go. Linda's going to be watching. I'm going to be there in the chats. They're going to be there in the chats. We're all going to have some fun watching together. And I just got a business suite notification. I'm going to have to check that out after the show. Yep, you did. I remember because I saw Kate Mulgrew. It was one of the times I mentioned I was seeing Kate Mulgrew because she was in Vegas. East Dubuque's going to be there. That's awesome. Always good to have a bridge around. You bridge gaps. You build friendships. It's always good to have a bridge around. It's also the title of a Billy Joel album. And I do love my Billy Joel. So you will find me here Monday because I'm going to be reviewing the Shuttle Pod show from Sunday because that's what I do. Now that you guys are back, even if you're in my chat room, I will still review you. So just be aware. Yes, mimosas. Oh my gosh. Absolutely. I'm going to have to go out. I have orange juice. I'm going to have to go out and buy some Asti or something to pour into it. Martini and Rossi Asti Spumante. I like it better than champagne, and you can get it in what's called splits. So they're like the perfect size to make many mimosas. So they're like this. Yeah. So thank you for the reminder that I need to go get myself some Asti because Sunday's going to be incredible. Has Connor learned to type? When he was here back in February as my little surprise guest that you guys brought him on for my little Valentine's Day show, he was having problems with the typing. So if he can take a typing class between now and then, that would be great if he hasn't already. I have no idea what kind of typer Dominic is, but if Connor can learn to type a little better between now and then, that would be awesome. So we can communicate clearly. I know he is. He's terrible. He's absolutely terrible. But that's okay. We love him anyway. And we're all really excited. So happy Thanksgiving. You got Thanksgiving. You've got Thanksgiving on Thursday. You've got Friday and Saturday to shop. And then when you're recovering on Sunday, wake up, have yourself a mimosa, grab yourself a mimosa, sit down and watch the live premiere of the Shuttle Pod Show's second season with the one and only Walter Koenig. Oh, and by the way, I heard the intro. I heard Walter's intro because somebody was playing it while we were on the phone. Too handsome to type. Yeah, but you know what? Handsome or not, he still needs to learn a skill or two. Gobble, gobble. I heard the intro, and it's fabulous. It's absolutely fabulous. So I already got my little sneak peek. Or sneak listen, because we were on the phone, but I did get my sneak listen to the wonderful, warm, and amazing intro that you guys are all going to be treated to on Sunday. Plus, the answer to my question, and I told y'all I wasn't going to tell anybody what my question was because y'all had to tune in to find out what it is, but I believe it's the last question that Erica asks. So y'all got to tune in and find out what I asked because I told you it is not a Star Trek question. Because you know me, I like to change things up. So guys, as always, thank you so much for hanging out with me on a Monday night. Chat Pack 2.0 rules. Just remember, whatever you're doing this weekend, be safe, travel safely. I hope you have a great, hope you all have a great weekend, whatever it is that you're doing. Don't overeat too much, or if you do, at least make sure that you're up for Sunday. It's a great episode. They're fine-tuning it. Am I over? Yes, we're wrapping things up, East Dubuque. bridge for now, but please join me next week. Become part of the Chat Pack 2.0 and join me next week for my next live show. And like I said, we are going to be doing a wrap up of the Walter Koenig premiere. Bye, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving. See you Sunday. All right, you got the last Sunday in there because we are ending Shuttle Pod Show. Thanks, guys. See you soon. And you know what? As always, don't forget to please live long and prosper.
This is Nicole DeBoer, and you've been listening to the NX7062 podcast.